Now, many of the largest companies in the United States are whinging about the same thing, the rising cost of trucking. Trucking costs are going up, and the cause is a serious shortage of drivers. Indeed, if you ask the industry, they say that 63,000 more drivers are needed in the United States. It's got so bad that the US Congress is considering what measures need to take, for example, lowering the age limit for interstate truckers. It's currently 21, drop it to 18. Now, to put this into true perspective as to why it is significant, 70% of all US goods rely on truckers to get to their destination. You often think of air. Well, air is just high-value stuff, and railways is bulk stuff, but it's 70% of goods go by road. Claire Sebastian is with me. What's the fundamental? We've talked about this before a few times on the programme. What's the issue?
So it's a perfect storm, Richard. It's not just the fact that there's a shortage of drivers, it's the fact that we're seeing a rise in demand for trucking as well. There's the fact that the economy is growing, and the rise in e-commerce as well. And all of this is bringing it together into this, fundamental issue where the companies are really having to step up. So I, with all my natural agility, clambered on board a tractor trailer to really find out what exactly people in the industry are thinking.
We're gonna go pick up an empty trailer.
49-year-old Elmer Funes still remembers the day he got his trucking license.
When I get the license, I know I'm gonna do something I like, and I'm gonna make it for my family.
That was 20 years ago. Back when Americans still had a romantic view of the trucking industry, seen in movies like Convoy.
Fast trucks, fast women, and fast food.
And at first, Elmer says life really was that good.
When I started driving, more work, you can do, a lot of money. Now it's not the same. Most of the companies, they don't want to pay you, for the experience. That's why a lot of people quitting, quit doing this, because the way the system is right now is not fair for the drivers.
It is tougher to find truck drivers. I think that we have to be much more aware of what those drivers are looking for and providing them a better experience.
For Clifford Finkel, who took over his century-old family business 15 years ago, this is as tight as he's ever seen the labor market. The American Trucking Association says by the end of this year, the industry will be short 63,000 truck drivers.
We have started to set up some internal training processes that allow us to take newer drivers, or student drivers basically, and put them through our own training process.
And as the economy expands, the need for truckers is only increasing.
Almost 3/4 of all freight in the US will at some point travel on a truck just like this. That's everything from your Amazon deliveries to wholesale shipments for companies. It's critically important for the economy. And now, with the rise of e-commerce, demand for trucking services is actually going up.
Elmer says so far he isn't seeing that rising demand reflected in his paycheck. And yet, despite the challenges, he still feels the pull of the open road.
I like to be alone in the truck. I like to be, in the road. I like to see new things every day.
Wonderful report. Tell me, why aren't the natural laws of economics coming to play here? Because if there's a shortage and a rising demand, ergo, wages should be forced higher, which would draw people into the industry. Now, Economics 101.
Right. Well, if you look at the numbers from the Labour Department, the wages are going up. They've gone up about 20%, say, in the last 10 years. But we asked this company, Finkel Trucking, why, what exactly is going on? How are they able to plan? And they said the problem is you can't commit to new work from customers if you don't know you're going to have the drivers. So that means that the amount of work for the drivers isn't really increasing because the companies aren't getting the drivers to commit. So you get this vicious cycle. It's yet another paradox of what's going on in that industry.
But at some point, the demand will overwhelm the supply and wages will go up. And yes, there may be the inequality may lead to rising freight costs as well. But that's just the law of supply and demand.
I think that's what we're seeing at the moment is they're still in transition to that. Obviously, the unemployment rate has been dropping really fast, and we've seen we're now only
3.8%.
Right, we're only just in a situation where there's more job openings than there are people to fill them. So I think it's, there's some catch-up going on. But what you're seeing with these companies is they're having to really act urgently and think laterally to bring people in. This company said they're even considering bringing in convicted felons who've, finished prison terms because they're that desperate for drivers.
Did you enjoy the truck?
I did.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yes, the open road.
Trucker. I think we should do something like an election. Next time, we'll get you driving a
Get
truck.
an 18-wheeler.
18-wheeler. Claire Sebastian, an 18-wheeler going across America. Thank you.